Did mine start recording?
Okay, we're recording and we're live. Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. We're just about to record our podcast for the week. So if you've got any questions, pop them into the comments and we'll try and touch on them as we go through for our preview of the Austrian Grand Prix. So thanks for joining. Hello and welcome to the Everything F1 podcast with me, James Tiller. And alongside me from the Everything F1 team today, we've got Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I am very, very good, and I cannot wait to talk about why.
Good, good, good. We will get into that. Coops, we've got Coops along with us for the ride. How are you, Coops?
I'm all right. I'm very excited and happy to hear why Sean is very, very excited and happy.
It's good that we're all happy and excited to discuss what we've got to discuss today. We are discussing the Austrian Grand Prix today and previewing and making our predictions for the race weekend, but also a little tiny little movie came out yesterday, or at least premiered yesterday, and a couple of us got tickets to see it. And we're going to give you our first kind of first reactions to the F1 movie and give you the lowdown. We'll try and make it non-spoilerific, but you know, if you haven't seen it yet, or you do want to see it and you want to completely go in blind, you might want to stop listening to us when we start talking about the F1 movie. But as I say, we will try and keep it as spoilerific as possible, spoiler less as possible, not spoilerific, as spoiler less as possible. But we will talk about just key bits to look out for. So yeah, we are Everything F1. You can find us on all our social channels. We're on Facebook, Insta, X, uh, TikTok, all at the handle at Join EF1, apart from TikTok, which is at EF1 Official. We're also on YouTube as well. We would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We've got a competition running to get our subscribers up, basically. Once we hit 500 subscribers, we will be giving away a Lego Speed Champion set to one lucky winner. So just get yourself subscribed, and once you're subscribed, you're part of that competition, and we'll be drawing it as soon as we hit 500. So we would really appreciate the likes and follows, and share it with your friends, and they might like it too, and want to join in the competition as well. We are also sponsored by the raceworks.com, which is a fantastic merchandise company giving you F1 merch from around the whole grid. All teams have got their product on there, and you can get that at a discounted rate using the discount code EF1 at checkout. You get 10% off site wide. Now, the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's talk about the Austrian Grand Prix first, Sean. Are you a fan of the Austrian Grand Prix? Is it one of your go-to for action, or have you got some kind of criticisms about it?
Austria is one of my favorite races on the calendar and has been since the day it came back, 10
Yeah.
years ago, I want to say, 10 or 12, 10 or 11 years ago. I don't think there's been a single bad Grand Prix since. It's a classic track, but it's a big, wide track. There's enough fast corners, there's long straights, there's DRS zones, there's heavy braking, there's rain, there's sunshine, there's Max Verstappen fans, there's non-Max Verstappen fans. I cannot think of a bad Grand Prix over the past couple of years, unless you're a Lando fan. Last year wasn't great.
Mm.
But that's more of that's more of just what happened on the day, and I'm sure we'll chat about kind of the incidents of last year. But no, I absolutely adore the Austrian Grand Prix. If it was a slight bit easier to get to, I would have gone to it already. It is just, I mean, it looks beautiful up in the Styrian Hills, but it is difficult to get to. It's expensive to get to, unfortunately, from Ireland with accommodation and stuff like that. But I would. It's very, very high on my bucket list of races to go to. It's a great race every single year, and I cannot wait. I will not be surprised. In fact, I'll be shocked if this is not the best race of the season by a mile.
Oh, big bold claim there.
So far anyway.
Coops, what about yourself? Are you a fan of the Austrian Grand Prix, just like Sean over there?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I market the tracks that I really like based on how well I tend to do them when I drive them in the Formula One game. And we all know I'm really
Mm,
bad at them. And that's one that I quite enjoyed. Uh, so
mm.
yeah, I do enjoy it. There's not usually a boring race. I think it's because it's quite a short track in general, twisty corners. There's
Mm.
always something. Lewis Hamilton tripping over a Red Bull. The Verstappen Lando Norris rumble. Lewis Hamilton and Rosberg, they had their fight in that infamous season. So there's always something at some point in the race that you're like, ooh, what's going on here? So yeah, definitely a track worth watching, or a race worth watching, I should put.
Yeah, and I kind of mirror your sentiments really. It's got lots of high speed straights, sharp braking zones, overtaking opportunities. Yeah, yeah. Was it Austria that got all the track limits violations as well?
Yes,
Was it last year?
100,
And it
a
was like,
couple of years ago, it was 160. Sorry, no, it was 1,200 over the whole weekend in
yeah,
2023 or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous.
mm,
That's why they
And
put
actually,
that.
it's a good example of how they can change. They can actually change how the track is laid out and add gravel traps in. Obviously, being a bike track, they had to get approval
mm.
from MotoGP as well, but it worked for them too. They didn't want their drivers going a million miles offline, which they do like to do in MotoGP. And they took away the stupid sausage curbs that were launching the cars into the air, put the gravel traps back, and the cars stay within the lines, believe it or not. When you know, there's danger
Mhm.
offline,
Mm.
they stay on the track. It's a radical concept, but it worked really well in Austria, and we don't really see track limits anymore in Austria.
Well, that's it. So we'll see if that's a problem this year. Probably not, but we'll see. Let's go through the vital statistics as I've got them in front of me right here. Obviously, it's in the location is Spielberg, Austria. The Red Bull Ring, obviously sponsored by Red Bull themselves, because Red Bull is an Austrian company itself. The track length is 4.318 kilometers with 71 laps, which makes the total race distance of 306.452 kilometers. You've got 10 corners, 7 right, 3 left, DRS zones 3. You've got the pit straight between turns 1 and 3 and 3 and 4. And the current lap record is held by the Spaniard Carlos Sainz, who did it in 1 minute and 5.619 seconds. And he did that in 2020. So yeah, I mean, is that going to be a potential possible lap record that's going to fall this weekend, Sean? Do you think the cars are set up to beat those records yet, or do you think they're just a little way off?
Well, it's a good question, actually, isn't it? I haven't checked. Do you know what tires are being used? Because if that new super soft tire is coming this weekend as well,
We've
then yeah, very
yeah,
likely.
we've got the softest range, so it's a C3, C4, and C5.
So I think there's a good chance that we see some records getting broken. Race lap record, possibly not, because they're not going to use that
Mm.
tire in the race, I would assume. But yeah, they've got the full handle on these cars now. They know how to make them super slippy in a straight line while still producing enough downforce. Yeah, I think we could see some records. Maybe not, like I said, maybe not the race lap record, but um, unofficial lap record, qualifying record was up for grabs this
Mm.
weekend, I would have thought.
And Coops, who are you expecting to do well? Is it a McLaren track every day of the week, or is it actually potentially somebody else going to be competing from the front?
I want to hazard the guess that Mercedes might do well.
Right. Okay.
Canada was relatively warm and they won it. At the moment, the stakes seem to be stake of one, especially Hulkenberg seem to have found something with some recent upgrades. So
Mm.
I think it will still be McLaren, but I think Mercedes. I would be
Will make it difficult.
surprised if they're not near the front or there or thereabout.
And Sean, how about you? Do you think it'll be a McLaren masterclass this weekend? Do you think they've got something to make up for their lack of performance in the previous race? I say lack of performance, but I mean they still did fairly well, really. Uh, for Piastri, apart from Lando didn't, but Piastri did fairly well, all things considered. Do you think they've got something to make up for the last race this weekend in
Yeah,
Austria?
the last race this year, yes, for sure. The
Mm,
last race in Austria as well. Last year was they had sort of just started to get their act together with the car. That Miami upgrade was bedding in now. They were second and third in sprint quali, second and third in quali, and then second and seventh in quali.
Mm,
And then obviously Oscar finished second in the race last year, and Lando did not after the crash with Max. But they hadn't quite figured out how to win races yet this time last year. They still hadn't won. They'd won one in Miami. Oscar still hadn't won a
mm,
race yet. Lando had only won his first one. The team had only was only starting to think, oh, maybe we might be in a championship fight this year. There's absolutely no excuse for them to be anything other than first and second every weekend. I think that's the bar they've set for themselves with their performances and their car. Masterclass, I hope so. On paper, this should be the track that suits them better than any track on the whole calendar. And it
mm.
should suit the drivers as well. I'm not going to do a Danica Patrick and say that this is a simple track because while it might look it on the map, it absolutely is not. And Coops, to your point, I absolutely adore driving this track on the game. It's one of my favorite tracks to race on the game, and it is a challenge. It's a proper challenge. It looks easy.
Mm,
It absolutely is not. It's just a riotously good lap. It's rapid, quick, even mid race. It's really, really good fun, but it is a big challenge. But it should suit both of them. You've got the, I suppose, the kind of virtual walls of the gravel traps, and we've seen how good Lando can be with the virtual wall of a gravel trap on street circuits. He was quick
mm,
in Canada until he wasn't quick in Canada. Um, and Oscar is a robot. The fast flowing nature of this track should suit him down to the ground as well. They were both rapid in
mm.
qualifying last year. I do think this will suit them both. If they can both nail qualifying, it'll be a case of whichever one gets into turn one first will vanish. That's how it should be for them all season. But yeah, qualifying this weekend is going to be really interesting, really, really interesting. And I'm going to be at a wedding, so I'm going to miss it. So keep me updated, please.
We'll send you some messages on the
Yeah.
Slack.
See, just for
Uh,
that couple deserve to get divorced very quickly after.
Well, thankfully they're not F1 fans, so I don't think they'll be listening. But yeah, I'll be able to watch the race.
that's
It's
not
okay.
very nice, Coops. Yeah,
I'm
have it on your
only,
phone,
I'm
as they
only
say I do.
joking. I'm only joking, but am I? Am I?
Coops, can anyone beat Red Bull at home? It's obviously Red Bull's
Yeah.
backyard. Max Verstappen's kind of made this place his personal playground over the years. But is it possible that McLaren will take the fight to them? Is it possible that Red Bull will actually bring the fight to McLaren and win their home race again, like they have done so many times before?
Well, firstly, let's try and say Max Verstappen's personal playground without spitting all over your keyboard. And secondly, well, he can't bring too much to the fight because he can still get banned.
Hmm,
So
that's
uh,
true.
he has said he's not going to change his fighting style. Sorry, driving style. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Max will bring the fight and bring Max to something. He's proven he'll get up there and be there or thereabouts. So,
Hmm.
we'll wait and see. Whether it's going to be consistent throughout the rest of the year is another thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one with Red Bull this season because they'll be there or thereabouts, but one minute they just get pole and then they win the race. The other time they're just not really there or thereabouts, and they're kind of in the top half of the top 10, and that's about it. Not quite as bad as Ferrari in that respect, but if Max can put it together, he'll be the one that'll probably do something to the McLarens.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. He finds something extra. And he always seems to be battling out for a position. Do you think that the fact that they're at the Red Bull home, obviously there's going to be loads of Dutch fans. Obviously, the Austrian fans are going to be Red Bull fans. Do you think that really is going to G up the team as well as G up kind of Max to really perform to the absolute best that they can?
Well, I suppose it will. They say it's a good couple of tenths when you're in front of your home fans. Uh, Whether that will come to fruition, we'll just have to wait and see. But if any driver can, find a weekend to do something that's spectacular, it'll be Max Verstappen. It would probably be the Austrian Grand Prix. And then let's watch
Mm.
this. He'll bin it, end up having to take a power unit change and start from the pits and finish 15th. There you go.
But what about his teammate, Sean? Yuki Tsunoda. He's obviously not having the best of time in Red Bull, but whoever has in that second seat. Can you see the crowd giving him those extra tenths to put him in the top 10 firstly in qualifying and then scoring some decent points in the race?
I'd love to say yes. Obviously, you got what 12th in Canada last time out.
Mm.
13th the week before in Spain. It's a tough one because he had promised when he started off in the Red Bull, and he has the security of Red Bull will look like absolutely the worst people on earth if they dump him out again. Not that they don't already for those of us who are actually paying attention. But it's really not going well for him. They have been smacking on so much downforce onto that car on tracks that shouldn't otherwise need it, just to give him some stability at the rear end. That alone screams that that car is built to be loose as hell at the back because that's how Max likes to drive the car. If anybody still for
Mm.
some reason has doubts that the concept of the car is designed to Max's preferences. Um, but I don't see this weekend getting any better for him because this is a low downforce track. This is a low downforce track in a car that is skitty as hell on the rear. Um, I think he's actually going to really struggle this weekend. And while yes, it's Red Bull's home race, it's it's a Max Verstappen crowd. It's not a Red Bull crowd. It never has been. It's a Max Verstappen crowd.
Mm.
So I'm not sure. I'd love to say he'll get the home field advantage kind of thing. But I mean, he didn't really get it in Japan either, did he? So, where did he finish
Very
in
true.
Japan? He finished 12th in Japan. I mean, he's on a run of form of finishing 12th. He's oh, I don't know. I'd love to see him get a point this weekend, but I actually think this might be his worst weekend so far. I think just the way he's been. Next time out in Silverstone might be a different scenario, especially if it rains. If it rains this
Mm.
weekend, different story. High downforce, it'll help him. But he is having to lump downforce onto that car. And if he has to do that this weekend at a track that is super low downforce, he will be right at the back end. I don't know if you saw it in the past week. Without Max Verstappen, Red Bull would be last in the championship.
Yeah, but
Even
that's like saying,
even allowing for the drivers gaining an extra position or two if Max just wasn't there. Without Max's points, they would be last in the champion, or maybe eighth in the
mm.
championship. But I feel bad for Yuki.
But you
Um,
can't say that you can't say that because he is part of the team. It's I hate those sorts of I apologize to you because you brought it up, but I hate those sorts of comparisons because I just think they're so ridiculous. But
they are a little
yeah,
bit, but it just it does a little bit highlight the gulf between
oh
Max
yeah, the
Verstappen
disparity between them.
and a car designed for Max Verstappen and his, let's be perfectly honest, generational ability to drive a car in a very, very, very unique way
Mm.
versus the second driver who just basically has the punishment of daring to not be Max Verstappen. I
Yeah,
like Yuki,
no,
but
I get it.
I think he's really going to struggle this weekend. Unfortunately, I really hope I'm wrong, but I can't see this being anything other than a bad weekend for him.
Mm. Coops, other teams. We did mention slightly the Mercedes team. Obviously, Sean mentioned them a little bit earlier. But if we could go into a bit more detail, they seem to be grabbing the momentum, or certainly they did in the last race. All season, George Russell has just been fantastic and grabbing every single point that that car will allow him to get. Are we seeing the resurgence? Are we going to see a true title championship contender for the rest of the season? Or was it a one-off in Canada?
Right, settling at one off. George just became like the how should we say it's became more of a more complete driver as this season's went
Mm,
on. Uh, Kimi Antonelli's teammate, hasn't really done anything stupid, really glaringly, obviously daft mistakes. Not like Liam Lawson forgetting to turn off his DRS at the turn one in Japan.
Jack
Worked out
Dillon,
well. Yeah. So, and he's
that
just
was Doohan, not Lawson.
doing,
Just to
sorry, my apologies.
sorry,
Uh,
we hate on
Liam
Lawson enough.
Okay,
Let's give him his
so
juice.
doing into the wall and Liam Lawson punting Alonso into the wall in Miami. There we go.
That was
So
it.
Not as good as each other. They're just as bad. While listening to that song, anyway, so
You watched it then.
I did. With the image of that happening. Funny, funny. Uh, so, Kimmy's just slowly progressing where he needs to progress, and George has become the leader of that team. Interestingly, does not have a contract for next year. So,
Hmm.
yeah, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, and I think he's going to be up there doing something, and he's going to annoy the hell out of Red Bull. No, sorry, Max Verstappen and the McLarens. While Ferrari just get really disappointed and cry into their bowls of pasta. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm muting because there's a really squeaky train just arriving behind me. So I was trying to cut it out of the edit, but then you stopped talking. Um, can you hear it? It's
Mhm.
really squeaky.
No, it's gone now.
Okay. So Antonelli though is doing well for a rookie, Sean. He's really impressed me actually. As Coops said, he hasn't made many mistakes at all. There's been one here or there, but nothing to write home about and kind of ridicule him at all. Certainly
Mm-mm.
one of the rookies of the season. There's two in my mind that could be competing for that title of rookie of the season. But what do you think his prospects are for the weekend in Austria? Do you think he'll be, you know, on the tail of George and even on the tail of the McLarens?
Absolutely. He's coming off his first podium in Formula One, which is incredible. To achieve that already into this season, into his rookie season, as a kid who literally just completed his school exams,
Yeah,
he couldn't celebrate Canada because he had to go and study,
he had to. Yeah, he had to
which
go and
just
do his exams.
which was just mad. And makes it look like Max Verstappen was 1,000 when he joined Formula One by comparison. Um, But no, he's been impressive. He's not been without rookie mistakes, but how much can you knock him for rookie mistakes? I don't think
He's a
I
rookie.
think exactly. I think if a rookie makes stupid mistakes, I think you can knock them for it. I mean, the way I see it is the same as like football or rugby or any professional sport. If you're deemed good enough to be put in this professional sport at whatever age you are, then if you have your rookie errors, that's fine. If you do something daft, then are determined to be old enough to take a bit of slack for it. He hasn't done anything even
Mm.
remotely close to earning any of that, I don't think.
No,
Not
absolutely
at
not.
all. He had a bit of a dip in Italy, in Imola. He even admitted himself that kind of the drama of the whole event, getting all of his classmates there, was maybe too much of distractions for him. He's admitted that himself. Fair play to him. He's kind of had the maturity to say, I won't do that again, lads. I'm sorry. You can sit in the
Mm.
grandstand next time. But no, he's been really impressive. I think I know who you're talking about for the other one. And I completely agree. Isaac Hadjar he's been my driver of the season so far, himself and George Russell. I
Mm.
think they've been phenomenal. But I'd also give a shout out to Gabriel Bortoleto. I know he hasn't set the world alight like the rest of them, but while the wheelie bin is more of a wheelbarrow now, it's gotten a little bit more useful. It's still a wheelie bin, and he's doing exactly what he needs to. He's keeping within touching distance of his wildly more experienced teammate in Nico Hulkenberg. Hulk's getting the story headlines for the points he's scoring, but Bortoleto is right
Mm.
there. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's very impressive. He's still the reigning F2 champion. He got his first win in Formula 2 this weekend last year in Austria. So wouldn't put it past him having a good weekend this year. He knows how to win. He literally knows how to win at this track. Not that he's going to win Formula 1, he knows how to succeed at this track, I think is maybe a better
Yeah,
word to use.
perform
Um,
to the best of his ability.
there you go. But yeah, the most of the rookies are having a good season, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, scratch off Dunne, Lawson, which is technically not a rookie, but he's a rookie because it's his first full season.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
the less said about that, the better.
we still land on most there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The 3 out of 5, or with the sixth. Who's this? There's a sixth, isn't there? Is there a sixth? Am I forgetting
Colapinto,
somebody? Colapinto, that's it.
technically.
Mm,
Ollie
yeah,
Behrman. Yeah,
Ollie
Ollie
Behrman, yeah,
Behrman, who's technically flying under the radar again.
and he did quite well last in the Canada as well, didn't he?
He
Was it Canada?
finished
Was it Canada that he
in
got a point?
11th in Canada.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's flying
Just
under the radar because that Haas is freaking slow.
yeah,
Yeah, it
which
is.
is telling when you look at the constructors' championship. Um, but yeah, okay. Well, we've spoken about Mercedes. We think they've got a good chance this weekend, to obviously take it to the McLarens and make it difficult for Red Bull to, well, make it difficult for Max Verstappen to. Um, what about the Ferrari? Ferrari have had a nightmare. Toto Wolff's come out and defended Lewis Hamilton, saying Hamilton will take a half a season. Give him a chance. He'll be back, performing to the best of his ability at some point soon. Um, I fear, now I like Hamilton, but I fear that we've been saying that for 3 years now, and it just hasn't happened. I don't think he's lost it, and I'm not saying, he has lost it, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to show that thing. I'm hoping it will be at Silverstone, when they bring their upgrade package that the Ferraris are bringing. But him and his teammate Charles Leclerc haven't been performing the best. They've done okay. Um, Ferrari have been doing Ferrari things with their decision making on the pit wall. Um, Coops, what do you reckon to Ferrari in this weekend in Austria?
Oh, I'm not holding out any hope. If you're a fan of Ferrari, you just be perennial disappointed, if that's the right way to say
Hmm.
it, because it's just they started off they missed out by the constructors last year by 14 points, which is nothing.
Hmm.
Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a four-way fight, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and they were nowhere. And the only way they
Hmm.
won the sprint in China was they put the car that low. It was illegal. Uh, so
Yeah, but the sprint wasn't long enough to wear down the plank in time, just like the full
oh yeah.
fully fledged race was.
Um, and then is it John Elkman, I want to say, who came out
Yeah.
and said that when they were talking about the Ferrari Le Mans team and about the guy who ran that team, can't remember his name, basically made a comment along the lines of that's when you have everybody working for you, or words to that effect. Look what happens when things go right, and kind of, pointing the finger. The biggest thing about that is he was the guy who wanted Fred Vasseur in Ferrari. Now
Hmm.
he's making comments like that. It's
This is
it's
this is what always happens though with Ferrari. You always get a couple of seasons with a new team principal, and then the board start slating them. The board start questioning their decisions. They never ever look at Williams. What Ferrari need to do, and this is going to sound really, really strange. Ferrari need to do what Williams have done with James Foles. They've really trusted him. They've said, "What do you need? How long is it going to take? We're not going to pressure you to do anything ridiculous and to get results within an X amount of years. We want you to dictate how long you think that's going to happen." They've given him freedom. They've given him just the ability to make decisions or make the wrong decisions. He's even said in podcasts that I've listened to about it. This is what Ferrari need to do. They need to say, "Look, you've got the reins. This is your show. Do what we know you can do. Bring the best out of the team. Hire people you want around you, and yeah, just we're going to give you 5 years to win." Obviously, with Williams, 5 years is, you know, in comparison to how bad they've had it over the last 10 years, say, or even a bit longer actually. But but Ferrari, the problem with Ferrari is there's the urgency because it's that brand name and they're selling sports cars, they're selling this, that, and the other, and they feel that pressure from the sales side, and they just try and rush things along too quickly. We need to be there, we need to do this deadline, or you're out. This deadline here, this amount of points. They're far too regimented, and they don't allow that kind of creative freedom. And they could take a note from kind of Williams in that sense. Yeah, Sean, you're nodding. Hopefully, I made sense in that ramble that I made there. But do you agree with some of what I just said?
Ferrari are the Manchester United of Formula One, aren't they? They always blame one person rather than the system that's actually the problem.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And I think you look at what Fred Vasseur has actually genuinely, tangibly achieved with that team. He got Charles Leclerc a win in Monaco and Monza, which is,
Mm.
that okay, that is level one. Tick, done, success. He brought Lewis Hamilton into the team a year in advance. Nobody is going to achieve that ever again. Nobody is ever going to achieve that for Ferrari of that level, bringing in a seven-time world champion.
Mm.
Doesn't matter who he is or what his performance is this year or last year. And I agree. I think he's lost it. He hasn't lost it. These cars don't suit him. I've been saying that for years. This
Yeah.
generation of cars does not suit Lewis Hamilton at all. And I said it last year, moving to Ferrari is not going to fix that. It didn't. Shocking. But Fred Vasseur is the best thing that's happened to Ferrari in a long time. But once again, we're kind of getting to the stage of he's had the early success and now he's asking for more, demanding for more, wanting to make changes, and the board are like, oh no, we're Ferrari, we don't do that. No, 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 no. You need to just win it. Just win it, just win it all. Bribe the FIA if you have to. Hilariously, you'd think Mohammed Ben Sulayem seems pretty bribable, but of everyone, he is the most corrupt person who's ever led the FIA, and for some reason, maybe that's just it. Maybe Fred Vasseur is just too good a guy. Maybe they need Flavio Briatore to be
I said
slipping
that
some.
about 6 podcasts ago, I think.
Yeah, and I literally read a completely unverified article this week that he's next up, and his big master plan for Alpine is just to put himself kind of in the eye of Ferrari to go, look, I make ruthless decisions. Come on, have me, lads. It's not going to happen, but Ferrari are Ferrari, and it's. I'm not even a Ferrari fan, but it's so hard to see them constantly be like this. McLaren got out of it. McLaren did it the right.
Mm.
McLaren had their enigmatic leader in Ron Dennis, who came in and proudly announced, "You'll never win in Formula One in the modern era with a customer engine." What did McLaren do last year? They won with a customer engine, and this year they're going to
Yeah.
do it again because he was wrong, really wrong. Hilariously, if they'd have kept with that engine, they'd have won eventually, the Honda engine. So he'd eventually been right, but he wasn't right. Doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah.
the board came in and go, right, okay, this isn't working. We need full change. Bring in Zach Brown. Zach Brown, here you go. Here is carte blanche. Do
Mm.
whatever the hell you need to do for the next 10 years. Get us back into the championship. He's been there since 2017. They won the championship 7 years later. It was a slog. It was a really, really tough time. 17 and 18 in particular were just atrocious. Um, but
Difficult years
he's
for a McLaren fan.
I literally saw a picture comparison the other day of the 2018 McLaren, which was just a horrible shade of orange with
Mm.
five sponsors, compared to the absolutely stunning black and orange one from this year with 58 sponsors on it. And Zach Brown is a salesman. Zach Brown is a
Mm.
salesman who likes racing. That's what it takes, and he's really charismatic. And now you've exactly as you mentioned, James Vowles is doing the exact same thing. He came in, Williams said, "Here is carte blanche, James. You do whatever you need to do." And they've given him another one. They've just signed a new long-term contract with him. And what's the first thing he does in his first major year? He brings in Carlos Sainz from Ferrari, who's a multiple race winner, who's gone toe to toe with
Mm.
arguably the most fastest one lap driver in the whole sport, Charles Leclerc, who many think is
Mm.
a multiple world champion just waiting for Ferrari to get their act together. Brings in Carlos Sainz and then brings in the biggest title sponsorship deal in Formula One history with Atlassian. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it,
Mm.
and it's not on Fred Vasseur. What's not going right at Fred Vasseur is not Ferrari is not on Fred Vasseur. It's on the board for not letting him do what Zach Brown has done, and now what James Vowles is doing.
Do you want to add anything, Coops? I mean, we've talked quite a lot about Ferrari and their shenanigans during the podcast, but we may as well get three opinions. What do you think?
I think a lot of people forget that Ferrari is an institution in Italy. and everything they do is on the front page of most of the papers, and it's scrutinised. Like, McLaren being last was mentioned and discussed in the UK, media, but it kept within the F1 circle, and you kind of knew they were awful and they were rebuilding. Williams were the same.
Mm.
In Italy, Ferrari and Formula One is at the front page, and it's discussed over, espressos and pastas in coffee shops and wherever else around Italy. Even where the factory is, there's literally nothing in it. The base in Maranello and is it Modena? It's just Ferrari and Formula One, and it's I think there's a different level of scrutiny. The people don't get the opportunity to do the 7-10 year plans because they're not allowed to. They'd be
Yeah,
paying
well,
for blood
it's been
outside.
18 years. It's been 18 years. So if they'd have set a 10-year target and given somebody a 10-year target within, at the many opportunities that they had for changes of regulations that we had in 2014, changes of regulations that we had in 2022, if they'd given somebody 10 years to get the car, get the team, get everyone behind you, and we give you the carte blanche that the Williamses, the McLarens have, they could be, I'm not saying they would be because, who knows, but they could be just like McLaren and competing for a champion. It's been 18 years since their last championship. That's just
No, I mean, it
ludicrous.
is, but the problem you have in Italy is to have someone, you're going to need someone who's extremely, extremely brave for the, in the simplest of terms, to turn around and tell the Italians, yes, your your sacred Ferrari team are going to be awful. Slowly but surely, we're going to build this over the next 10 years. Yeah, patience when it comes to Italy and Ferrari and Italians and Ferrari.
But
They
we've
don't
had
go hand in
18
hand.
years already.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about 18 years. It matters now. And now they were excited. They had Lewis Hamilton coming in. The cars were looking really good. They were progressing, and it's went the opposite way. So they want
They need
something,
to
and they need to see
they need
change.
they need to switch off development now. Completely switch off the development for this year. Focus on 2026. They're not going to win the championship. They're not going to compete for the championship. They're not going to get second place probably at this rate. I mean, they're only, I think they're third, aren't they, currently? But
I don't think they are actually getting many upgrades. I think there is a back end coming for Silverstone, but I don't think there's much more.
yeah,
Uh,
so they just need to focus on next year and give their drivers. I'm not saying give Lewis Hamilton before everyone screams Lewis Hamilton fanboy. No, both of their drivers who are world class drivers, give them both a decent car for 2026. Scrap this one. Just manage until the end of the year and just come out of the gates as quick as you can next year and be the Ferrari that we need and we know that they can be. Yeah, I'm just checking the constructors. They are still third in the constructors championship. They're 16 points off Mercedes in second, and they're just above Red Bull with 21 points ahead of Red Bull. So, I mean, Max Verstappen alone could make that gap and bridge that gap in no time at all. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm happy that we've chatted about Ferrari and the state of Ferrari. But we should move on to another team or any other teams. Coops, you mentioned earlier that Nico Hulkenberg is on a resurgence. Are you hoping that
yeah.
Nico will continue that resurgence in Austria, and will Gabriel Bortoleto continue his fairly good run of form and just be just behind his teammate as well?
I mean, there's nothing to say they won't. They've, excuse me. I just started thinking about Haas and Formula One there, and I got really bored. Uh,
Yeah,
so
we
yeah,
won't talk about
stick.
them.
Yeah, no, they're they've whatever it is they've done to the car. It was quite a substantial upgrade a few races ago. It's a good car. It's a solid all round car. It's not spectacular. It's not an absolute tractor, but it's a good solid car for what they're looking for. It's got the potential to get points, and for state soon to be Audi. That's all you need. You
Mm.
just need that decent foundation because next season is effectively a reset. You want yourself to get a wee bit extra, euros in the bank for the start of next season. So, and I'm sure the Hulk will be there or thereabouts. I would like to see Bortoletto maybe get one over on him, just as a wee bit of a confidence boost.
Mm.
Maybe qualify a couple of places in front, even just one in front, get himself into Q3, maybe top end of Q2 would be nice. Maybe just
Yeah.
take it from there. But yeah, I think they'll be in the kind of midfield, the top end of the midfield, having a decent wee scrap.
And Sean Williams, we mentioned him obviously when we were talking about Ferrari, but what do you think of the chances of Carlos Sainz, who is the current lap record holder there in Austria, and his teammate Alexander Albon? What do you reckon about their chances this weekend?
I think this weekend is going to suit them a bit better, because while they've done a really, really good job to kind of move away from the stigma of, oh, we're just fast in a straight line. Fact of the matter is,
Mm.
they still are fast in a straight line, very fast in a straight line. They've just made the car a little bit more balanced, particularly in high speed, where they've struggled the past couple of weeks, by their own admission, is in the slow speed, Monaco, Spain, um, Imola, and Canada. All tracks. I know Canada has high straights, but it's also got really, really annoyingly fiddly slow speed corners, which they just
Mm.
really couldn't come to grips with. Austria and Silverstone after that, and Belgium, and Hungary, and Zandvoort are all, and Italy. So they have a run of races now. They need to really, really hammer in fifth place, which I do think that this is the start now. I think this is going to be a good weekend for Williams. Am I right in saying Sainz was on the podium here last year? So I think, yeah, I'm looking forward to Williams this weekend. I really, really hope that the two of them can do a good job. I think double points should be the utter minimum for them again. They need to get back into that kind of form for this weekend. And yeah, I think this track is. I know the turn. It's turn three. It's not so really the second turn. It's officially the first. Is a really, really awkward, fiddly right-hander off camber up a hill. Uh, that one corner I think might hurt them in qualifying maybe a little bit, but in the race, if they can qualify, if they get into the top 10, if they get in the race, that car is a rocket ship still in a straight line. I think we can see a good old-fashioned Alex Albon DRS train forming in this weekend to the team's benefit for a double points finish.
And Coops, I'll leave you with Flavio Briatore's team. That's the Alpine team of Pierre Gasly and Colapinto. Are they going to be as anonymous as they have been pretty much all season? We've seen a few little flashes. They've been on my screen a couple of times, but not very often.
What team is this? Who are they? How do you spell that?
Alpine.
MEORCEDES.
I mean, they're going to be there on the grid somewhere. We'll see what happens. Uh, yeah.
So yeah, okay, fair enough. Did you want to mention the Haas team to round? Oh no, we've got Haas and Aston Martin. Sorry, Haas and Aston Martin. Aston Martin.
Oh,
Sean, what do you reckon about Aston Martin?
Do I have to reckon anything about Aston Martin? I think Fernando will do well this weekend. Fernando always does well this weekend. Hilariously, I had it in my notes for the movie review that we're going to do. One of the most believable things, not really much of a spoiler, one of the most believable things about that movie is that Lance Stroll got overtaken by a fake team. So there you go. That is what I think about Aston Martin at the moment. One thing that I think is really important to mention this weekend, though, is there is some driver lineup changes.
Ooh.
Some exciting driver lineup changes. Having briefly said hello to him yesterday at the movie premiere, Alex Dunne will be taking Lando Norris's seat in FP1 in McLaren, which is, and I have my facts on this, the first time an Irish-born driver will have taken place in a Formula One session since 1982. Because Ralph Furman was British-born. He raced under an Irish license, but he wasn't Irish-born. So it
Irvine.
is no
Is it?
Republic of Ireland born.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I
Yes,
get the two islands mixed up.
Irvine raced under a Northern Irish flag. He didn't race under the Irish flag.
Fair
No, the
enough.
last one before Ralph Furman, who drove for Jordan, so went full Irish on that one, was Tommy Byrne, who made his debut at Austria in
Ooh,
1982. He raced 5 races that year, but he failed to qualify for a lot of them. But
Very
yeah, so
interesting, read a very interesting documentary about him. He's a very interesting character.
Tommy
Uh,
Byrne,
yeah,
yes, he is.
uh, he was someone he couldn't deal with the politics of Formula One. Just was not in his character. Couldn't deal with it. Rubbed everybody up the wrong way, but unbelievably fast. If he was able to give that opportunity, it would have been amazing if he was able to stay in at Formula One and just got someone there to just teach him a wee bit about the
Mm.
politics.
Well, there you
But
go. 42 years since an Irish-born driver
wow.
racing under the tricolour Irish flag has taken part in a Formula One session. So congratulations to Alex Dunne. I dare say most of Ireland will actually watch Formula One this weekend, which is great because every single sports channel, Instagram account, blog in Ireland has been going mad for this kid this year, which is so good to see. I grew up with very
Fantastic.
little input from Formula One from the media, despite the fact that like we had a team in the sport with a team owner who was from my hometown. It wasn't very prevalent here when I was growing up, certainly not for me. And everyone's going mad for him now, which is really, really fantastic. So he's going to be driving for McLaren this weekend in FP1. Poor Lando, because he just last year didn't go great. I'm sure he'd love a bit of practice, but there it is. But also another change is where is it? Dino Beganovic is going to be driving for Ferrari this weekend. I believe
Yeah,
he's taking Charles Leclerc's car, if I'm not wrong.
he is.
Um, so really great to see the F2 two exciting young F2 talents stepping up this weekend. And I think both of them will be racing in Formula 2 this weekend as well. So lots to look forward to this weekend if you are a Formula 2 fan.
Okay, I think we've mentioned everything that we need to mention about the Austrian Grand Prix, apart from, of course, our predictions. I'm going to do sharp, snappy, like we did in the Canadian preview.
hey, not too
And I'm
sharp because I've got to write this stuff down.
Oh, okay. Get your pen and paper ready. Mm.
Pencil, pencil.
Pencil. Is that so you can rub it out when you make a mistake?
No, I just like the way it writes.
It's it's definitely not a sprint race weekend, is it? I'm just checking.
It's
Because
not.
No, it's not.
that's
Because
something I didn't
it's not because and I checked that because it was last year, but because the two lads are taking part in FP1, they wouldn't be if it was a sprint race because it would
Oh,
be the only practice
of
session.
course. That makes sense. Total sense. So, all we need then is a who will be the pole sitter for the qualifying on Saturday? Sean,
Charles Leclerc.
Coops.
George Russell.
I'm going to say Oscar Piastri. Right, we need a top three. Sean
George Russell, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc.
and Coops.
Hey, Piastri, Russell, Lando.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to change it. I'll change it. I'll say Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli,
You need to repeat
and
that one. What did you say?
what's wrong with that? I said Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Kimi Antonelli.
Max, Piastri,
Yeah,
and
Do you think Kimmy's
and
going back to back on his podiums?
how great would that be? It'd be superb.
okay. Any
Uh,
wild cards? I
bold,
think.
bold prediction for Sean.
Hmm.
Yeah, shut up and
My
let me ask it. Bold prediction for Sean.
my bold prediction is Alex Dunn sets the fastest time in FP1. Let's have
Could
it.
you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I mean,
Coops, bold
score.
prediction.
What was mine? Max Verstappen, DNF.
Oh, oh, don't give me
And
hope.
I'm gonna say my bold prediction will be, is it bold enough? Probably not really that bold. Um, 2 point scoring Williams.
Come
I
on.
was
Probably not very
I
bold. Not very bold this
I
time.
was called boring for that a couple of weeks ago, but
Yeah, yeah, it is a boring prediction really, but it'd be nice to see. Okay, well that's it for our Austrian preview. We hope you enjoy the race this weekend. We'll be back to review it obviously next week at some point when we can organise us all and get us all together. We're going to head into our preview of the not a preview. We're going to head into our review of the F1 movie and just have a little brief chat about the film. But thank you very much for tuning into the Everything F1 podcast today. We'll be back next week to discuss the Austrian Grand Prix and all the events that occurred. Please visit us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, you name it. We're everywhere at the handle at Join EF1. Apart from TikTok, we are at EF1 Official. You can also find us on our website, www.everythingf1.com, where we'll update on a daily basis news from around the F1 world and of course the wider motorsport world as well. And please hit the subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming service to get all of our latest podcasts in your earlobes as soon as they drop. Visit our sponsors, theraceworks.com, for 10% off site-wide all your F1 merch. Get merch like this. I'm wearing this Golf McLaren top that I bought from the website a while ago now. But yeah, you get your 10% off using the discount code EF1. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to be in with a chance to win one of the Lego Speed Champions sets. As soon as we hit 500 subscribers, we'll be giving one away. And then when we hit 1,000, we'll be doing it again. So just hit subscribe and enter that competition. And of course, get to see all this great content too. That's it for me, James Tiller, and that's it from my team, Coops and Sean. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next week. Bye bye. So now we're going to discuss our review for the F1 movie. Now, we went yesterday, both me and Sean. Coops, I don't know, did you want to stay for this? Did you want to discuss it? We don't want to spoil it for you.
I mean, in
but
terms of movies, I mean, it's not going to be setting the world alight in terms of script and what happens. It's,
the,
you know,
there's not there's not
uh,
there's not twists and turns. Yeah, there's
yeah,
no big
we're
twist
not,
that we're going to ruin.
yeah, we're not talking about the Sixth Sense level, oh my
Yeah.
God, or I am your father type situations. So I think we'll be
Nope.
fine.
We won't say who wins at the end. We won't say anything like that, but we'll discuss kind of how they get to what it is. I think is probably the
I
safest way of doing it.
just because I didn't want to be left the only one out. I did go to the movies last night, but it was 28 years later I went to see because it's not actually out yet. So I will be going to see Formula One, but last night we went to see that, which is a really good
Ah.
film. Once you've seen Formula One movie, go check that out.
Well, if you're all right with a couple of spoiler scoops, I think that might help us give a bit more of an accurate review. We're live on YouTube, so anyone watching still on YouTube, maybe some spoilers alert, but we'll upload this one maybe the day the movie actually comes out, which is tomorrow as we're recording anyway, on the 25th. So
like I
we
say,
should
we
be
won't
we're
ruin
not
the
going to
movie, but
completely
we will
ruin the
talk about
movie.
things that maybe they got wrong, things that they got right, and
Yeah.
just talk about kind of the atmosphere and the ambience, that sort of thing. Okay, right. So we've both seen the F1 movie, Sean, and you know what? I had a blast.
So
I've got to be honest. It's one of those films where you have to turn your F1 brain off, which we did discuss on the previous podcast that we probably would have to do so, like really, really off. But it was an exciting yarn, and I really enjoyed it. If I turned off my F1 brain, did you feel the same?
I did, and to be honest, I don't think I even felt like I needed to turn off my F1 brain all that much for it. There was, you know, there was obviously there's certain things. They introduce it as there's 9 races left in the season, and the ninth last race is Silverstone. It's obviously not true.
No.
As if Silverstone, and then it went like Silverstone, Zandvoort, uh, Mexico, Italy, or something like that. So they didn't put maybe as much. It was a fictionalized version of the Formula One World Championship. So maybe this is like another weird COVID year. where just anything can happen. But like that is a nitpick if I'm being honest. Like there was yeah, turn off your F1 brain a little bit, but there were certain things that were. I mean, a lot of it was taken inspiration from real life and Hollywoodized a little bit, but not egregiously. I didn't actually think any of it was too ridiculous, and even the concept of Pitt's older character, Sonny Hayes, being brought back in his 50s to race. Okay, it sounded a little bit silly and it
Sixes.
push 50s because it's set 2 or 3 years ago. um, but it's pushing it to the edges. But you know, there's a lot of basis on who else was it? Martin Donnelly's crash, which obviously happened in 1990. They don't actually ever specifically say in the movie what year the crash happened for Sonny Hayes's version of it.
Mm.
They just say he raced with Senna. So in my justification mind, my mind said he raced in 1994 as an 18-year-old, had a horrible crash, retired, came back, and if you look at it in that way, because they also never say what age Sonny Hayes is at all. Obviously, Brad Pitt is the age Brad Pitt is. They never actually say what age the character is. So in my mind, I'm thinking, actually, if you maths that up properly, he's in his late 40s. Fernando Alonso will still be in Formula One in his late 40s, and so will Lewis Hamilton. So I didn't think it was
He
too unbelievable.
he raced with Senna, Prost, and Nigel Mansell. So, I mean,
Okay, so he's
it's
like
touch and go.
50.
It's touch and go. It's touch and go.
But I
60.
thought
Uh,
the intro to him was good to suggest that, he is this, he's an older guy. It's the desperation of Javier Bardem and his team. He's desperate for absolutely anything, and this older racing driver, this kind of maverick, for want of a better term, considering it's the same guy who did Top
mm,
Gun, of a driver has just won Daytona 24.
yeah.
And if you know even the slightest bit about any sort of motorsport, Daytona 24 is a battle. So the suggestion right off the bat that this guy hasn't lost it. He is Fernando Alonso in 5 years kind of thing. He'll never lose it. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see Fernando Alonso win Daytona or Le Mans in his 50s. He's just that kind of talent. So they're kind of setting
Mm.
him up in that way. And I'm on it, if I'm honest. I don't think I turned my F1 brain off. I turned it down and it still worked for me. The premise of the film still worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, we could argue how the hell did he get the super license points? Where were the contract talks? He just appeared at the track and they put him in the car. Yeah, there was dubious parts like that, which kind of from an F1 fanatic kind of brain, I think you do need to kind of just ignore, enjoy the ride. It's not realistic, and you're not going into the film to have a realistic expectation of exactly this guy's kind of route into F1 and
Yeah, the
uh,
route into F1
to
and like especially you mentioned like the stewards stuff like that. They're like we're talking over the past couple of weeks about Max Verstappen is on tenterhooks to get a ban between now and October. He's still not out of the woods on that yet. And this
mm.
character's coming in. He'd have got banned within 2 races for the kind of stunts he was pulling. So
It,
okay,
it
that
it's
part,
it's along the lines of do you remember Days of Thunder, Robbins
yeah,
Racing? It's like he
exactly.
took that phrase. It's like, yeah, we're going to use that in Formula One. So
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, Days of Thunder is an amazing film. I really enjoy it as
But
a racing film. It's probably one of my favorites. But
at the same time, I think the movie lent into that.
mm,
The silliness and the old schooliness of him. Like he's coming from an era in Formula One where you did all of this. Like you came in, you be a maverick and you do whatever it takes to win. Senna crashing everybody off the road. Schumacher crashing everybody off the road to win their titles. Some were successful, some weren't. Um,
mm,
so this character comes from that era, and he's a sports car driver. He's become a professional pay as you go sports car driver, and that is how sports car driving works in a lot of cases.
mm,
The British Touring Car Championship is a bumper car series a lot of the time, which is brilliant, and the racing is phenomenal, and most of it you wouldn't get away with in Formula One because there'd be stewards' inquiries. So again, you turn down your racing brain. Um, but I mean the action, as I said earlier on, Lance Stroll got overtaken by an imaginary team, so that was accurate. But the racing action was good, and obviously we're super fans. We know that they've been like Brad Pitt and Tamsin Idris and Javier Bardem have been on the grid for the past what 3 years filming this film.
Mm,
It was a bit weird to see them rock up and be there at um the start of the races with the flyovers and the national anthems and all that. But it really added to the film. It was really well done. Nobody felt like it was out of place. Nobody looked awkward. I thought it looked way more natural than I thought it would.
mm. Yeah, I agree. Like I really enjoyed. I did really enjoy the film. But I just couldn't help but notice the glaring flaws in kind of FIA regulations. The fact that they don't even show a qualifying session. I thought that would have been
Mm,
an interesting concept in the film. That could have been a way that this struggling team kind of gets a good win or a good few points. They could have shown a qualifying session, but they don't really show any qualifying.
mm.
They don't even barely mention it. And in fact, one of the throwaway comments was, "Oh, you know." Oh God, what was it now? I can't remember what they said, but it was something along the lines of, "Yeah, it doesn't matter what happened in qualifying yesterday. The FIA don't like us, and they've sent us to the back of the grid or something like that." So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that sort of stuff doesn't happen. It's yeah, you know,
There was also
um,
the piece at the end of him, Sonny Hayes, rocking up to the grid and just hopping in the car on race day. Uh,
yeah.
Hilariously though, had that not happened in real or nearly happened in real life a couple of weeks ago, they'd have gotten away with that. None of us knew that was a rule. Nobody knew that was a rule. I'm sorry.
Oh, I knew that was a rule. I knew that was a rule.
Everybody was questioning why couldn't Aston put Felipe Drugovich in the car when Lance had to pull out in whatever race it was, Spain. Um, and now we know, and I bet the filmmakers will kick themselves going, crap. Now they're going to call us out on that one as well. Um, but no, I thought that the racing action was good, like especially when you know like how they made it. I love Top Gun Maverick. I love the original Top Gun as well. I love that
Mm,
in-camera action. I think it's phenomenal and much prefer practical effects to CGI. Um, Obviously this film has CGI in it. They didn't actually send these two complete novices out into Formula One races. But the tech they use of kind of superimposing their car onto real cars in
mm,
real races, you could tell, like if you watch Formula One, the Perez crash in Mexico in 2023 was a story beat in the film.
yeah.
And as a complete novice of Formula One or someone who didn't remember that race, if you go to see that, you would think to yourself, "Holy shit, they crashed a Red Bull for the storyline in this."
Mm.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, Jesus, they got really lucky there. But it was like Drive to Survive. They rocked up with a camera and drama happened, and they got lucky. But that's how Formula One works. That's how Drive to Survive works. And yeah, there was. I know I'm being like overtly positive. Plenty of negatives. Um, but I thought for the most part, like I thought Brad Pitt was excellent. Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Javier Bardem was excellent. It's Javier Bardem. Damson Idris was good, but my God, I hated his character.
But you're supposed to,
But
he's the cocky rookie that has to be taken down a peg or two. It's the
100%.
storied trope that goes on every racing movie, from Days of Thunder to Cars 3.
Yeah,
So
he verged from the arrogant young guy to you cocky little toe rag basically, and I was like, are Formula One drivers really like this? Are racing drivers really like this? And then I think, well, Dan Ticktum exists, so yeah, they kind of are. But to be perfectly honest, like since I kind of saw it, I've been following a couple of like football reports, and he was sort of set up to maybe be a little bit more of a footballer character with his
mm.
cousin manager who cares only about the fame and the girls and the parties and the sponsors
And the social
uh,
media
and the
and the
social
yeah.
media, and he needs to like his growth is learning to get over that. Um, and he gets his happy ending, so to speak, and he gets his learning. But I thought like at certain points in the film, there's one particular point in the film where Brad Pitt confronts him, and I was like, yes, fucking hit him, he deserves it, hit him. It was so I got well into it at that point.
Yeah, like you said about the action on track, that what I did like to see was they included quite a lot of racing. Because what they
Mm,
tend to do with some of these films is they have a snippet of racing and then it's all story, story, story. They didn't do that. They included the the full race and the racing and the cameras that they've got was so kind of, I don't know, just they pulled you into the scene itself. They made you
100%.
feel like you were driving the car. The way, I don't know how they've captured that you can actually feel the G-force. I was in the seat, kind of feeling the G-force as the cars were driving around these tracks. They kind of pan around to see all the different drivers, the cars coming next to them. So you've got all of the angles of the cars. The cars are their own cars. Obviously, you can tell that they're on cars. But you've got to suspend your disbelief. That is a 2023 Formula One car. You've got to
Yeah,
remember that you've got to think that that is. But I
completely agree. And
couldn't
the
help
fact
but
that,
see an
we
F2 car.
know especially when they were downshifting, they kept the flame pops of the Formula 2 car in it. I
Yeah.
bet I bet they were thinking to themselves, "Oh wow, that's so dramatic. Yeah, let's keep that in." But it's only two cars spitting flames. You think those cars are broken or they're Formula 2 cars.
Mm,
They should have either taken it out or made all the cars spit flames and made it really unbelievable.
mm.
But again, nobody else is going to have noticed that at all. That's
Well,
something.
maybe not.
But when you know that Brad Pitt and Damson had just spent a lot of time training for this, they did do genuinely a huge amount of driving in the cars themselves. Obviously, not as part of races, but they did a lot of like scenario driving where they put them in the car at the track that the moment the film was set in, send them out in the car and
Mm,
basically act. They're actors. Okay, at this moment you've got Perez coming alongside you and you're going through the turn. So go through the turn at full speed, feel the G-force and pretend you're battling someone. And it worked
yeah.
really, really,
Mm.
really well because like G-force is not something you can fake, and that's why the Top Gun films, in my mind, are so good because it's so believable when you see those actors up there going. You cannot
Yeah.
fake G-forces. It's so well done. I thought it was really really enjoyable. From that point of view. Um,
And can I
I
say
w
that the sound of the film, all the
Phenomenal.
sounds of obviously, the sound of obviously all the racing, the sound you've got the commentary that you get from Brundle and Crofty, who are co-starring in the film in terms of their voices. That it is,
There is a
but
little bit of F1 for dummies at the start of it, or F1 for newbies, I should say, at the start of that. But they
mm,
accelerated through that much quicker than Drive to Survive have. In a 2 hour movie, you get over that very, very quickly. Drive to Survive was on for
yeah,
6 years, and they're still pandering to people who've never seen Formula One before.
mm, yeah. Yeah, there was enough to kind of to let you know what was going on if you've
Yeah,
never watched F1 at all.
exactly.
Um, but the score by Hans Zimmer was so
Incredible.
immersive.
Yeah.
Like that guy never misses a beat. You see Hans Zimmer's name on the credits, on the opening credits, you know that the sound is just going to be. He doesn't half-ass anything,
Mhm.
and he didn't half-ass it this time. And it's an absolutely incredible score, and
I have
incredible
to
incredible sound design as well,
I have to
from
say
the sound
on the sound
editors.
as well, there was a report that I read. I don't know if you saw about Lewis Hamilton's involvement with the film. Apparently he
Mm.
was hired before Brad Pitt was, so he's been on board since day one, which is why he's sort of the final boss of the race.
Yeah, he is.
Which I
Yeah.
thought was completely fair. Although I wonder if he was watching that movie, did he get Abu Dhabi 21 flashbacks while he was watching it? Because I did. Um, it was that sort of vibe. But there's a report came out that he was involved not just at the start in terms of like planning out what they do when they do it, but apparently in the sound booth afterwards with the sound artists and stuff like that. He was saying sounds wrong there. Going through that turn at that speed at that point of the race on those tires in that part of the track, you'd be in fifth gear, not seventh.
Mm.
The engine note, he was commenting on what the engine note should sound like at different points in the film. Fantastic. Love that. Made a big difference. Because you watch like Ford v Ferrari, for example. I adore that film. Really, really excellent film. Great
Mm.
acted film. The racing scenes are not very good. The CGI is just atrocious in it when you watch it back. And it's all just sped up for this because racing cars are fast and they're just sped up to the
Mm.
nth degree. And you like I know the Le Mans track. I know which corner is which in the Le Mans track, and I know that as you're going through a certain corner, you're absolutely not on the red line in sixth gear. You're probably in second gear,
Yeah.
but in Ford v Ferrari, they're going through it on the red line in sixth gear. It's completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
Lewis Hamilton was having this sort of input on, hang on, lads, that's a first gear, that's a second gear corner, and you're going through it in eighth gear. No, no, relax, bring it back down, make it more realistic. And it didn't feel like they fast forwarded any of the racing scenes either.
No, no, it's just a clever way that they've filmed it. They've got some great cameras, obviously. I think they're all based on either iPhones or
Mm.
specific kind of Sony 6K rig, shot completely for IMAX as well. I saw it in the IMAX cinema, huge screen, looked beautiful, really polished. Think a shiny Apple iPhone. Think Apple products, shiny. Everything is beautiful, clean, crisp, and you'll get what the F1 movie is. It's a very Apple centric, Apple produced product. It's a polished, nice, shiny penny, nice, shiny new iPhone, nice, shiny new Apple headphones or whatever. Um, and if it takes that because they were the ones that produced the film,
Yeah.
it's all the better for it. To be honest with you, it's a sacrifice that we just have to take, having all their products shoved in our face, to enjoy such a brilliant film. Um, it really was a good film. I really
It
really enjoyed it.
was.
I really think everyone will enjoy it. But I had to do a spoilery review, where I took it down a peg or two, from an official F1 standpoint. Because
There
they did get a
was
few things wrong. Well, a lot of things wrong, and a lot of things that are glaring obvious to a fanatic. But do you know what it will do, and what I hope it will do, and I do think it will do because it is a really entertaining film. Is it will bring in another generation of F1 fans, just like Drive to Survive did. And I think it'll have an absolutely positive impact.
mm.
And I just hope to see a sequel in the not too distant future.
So do I. I completely agree. I think it's really good to see that like exactly like that. It will do. Hopefully, it'll do for Formula One what Drive to Survive did originally. But I
Yeah,
think that, yeah,
not
the
over
racing
recent
was good.
years.
The story was not great. Well, it's an action movie. Is the story of Top Gun Maverick great? No, it's Star Wars. Did I see Top Gun Maverick 3 times in the cinema? Yes, I did. It's just Star Wars, though. It was not creative. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the one part of the story that I thought ruined a lot of things for me. Nothing to do
Go on
with the
then.
racing at all. Nothing to do with the Formula One inaccuracies at all. It was, I don't know how much of it I can spoil. It's the moment after the poker scene.
Okay.
Moment between two characters. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That ruined that character for me. It completely undermined the character. It completely undermined the entire purpose in the film, relegated them to sex object, didn't add anything to the film at all, didn't need to be in the film in the slightest. Have them kiss at the end and celebrate. That scene did not need to be there. I literally got up and went to the toilet there because I knew this would add nothing to the film, and it didn't. And I hate that was the Hollywoodization of it for me. Not more
Yeah.
so than any of the F1 inaccuracies. That was the Hollywoodization for it for me, and I absolutely hated it. And if they do a director's cut and cut that bit out, it'll make the film better.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying as well, because they're showing so much that she's a female in a male world, male dominated world. She's not just there because she's pretty. She's not just there, and then they just use her as a pretty,
Out
you
of
know.
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get
After
it.
what's a really, really important scene and a really good scene for her, that poker scene was brilliant.
Mm.
Really, really it's her best scene in the whole film, and it's immediately undone.
Do you
Immediately
know what
undone.
I find impressive about her? She can completely go into the wind tunnel. She can design, spot the changes that needed in an aero package, design, build, make it in between a race, get it onto the car, and it
Mm.
affects the car brilliantly and takes it from a shit tip to a fairly decent running car. That's
I tell you what, though, I liked that about the story.
one of my holes.
It was maybe a little bit unbelievable that they did it they should have maybe set the film over a whole race season, not the last 9 races.
Yeah, yeah,
The whole
definitely.
I don't quite know why they did it that way. It
Mm.
maybe would have been a little bit better. This is our season. We need to win a race. You don't
Yeah,
go
it
from
might have been
scoring,
believable. Might have been a bit more
yeah,
believable. At the
a
start of the
little
season,
bit.
you're in Australia. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't
But
understand that. I don't understand
what
the
I,
nine race frame.
yeah, I don't know why
But
they did that.
maybe they didn't have the budget to do as many races.
For sure, but or the approval to be at certain race tracks.
Yeah.
But what I did like genuinely, and I was critical about this. We did a preview of the movie a couple of weeks ago, and I said that just based on the trailers, there was a line in the trailers going, "We can't beat them on the straights. We need to beat them in the turns." And I was like, "Nope, sorry." That is the stupidest line I've ever heard. That's going to ruin the film. This is not the 1960s. This is just that this just glares that they haven't done their homework. In the movie, that line is way longer and is a full conversation
Mm.
about dirty air and designing the car properly and the aerodynamics of the car, and shows that Brad Pitt's character actually knows what he's talking about for Formula One and improving the car, and then they go and do it. And actually, I was thinking to myself, do you know what? That again didn't quite buy the 9 races, would have made more sense of a whole season, but I fully got the concept of it because you look at Red Bull over the past few years, Mercedes in particular in their dominant era, that car was designed to not run in dirty air. As soon as it
Mm.
got in dirty air, they were crap every single time in their dominant air, every single time without fail. They could not drive in dirty air. The concept of designing a car for dirty air and then, you know, we'll get there at the end and then we'll win. I liked it. I
Mm.
thought that sort of worked for me. Again, would have been better with a few more races, but they shouldn't have had that line in the trailer because that made me really worry about the film going in.
My worst line of this of the whole thing, because it's just cheesy as hell, and it doesn't really well. It makes sense if you're it it makes sense. It's just a statement of fact, I guess. If you look at it that way, but it's where it goes. If you win the race, you're the absolute best, and that was like
Oh, you
that
get
was
to
like
say you're the best in the world for a day or something like that.
yeah, you're the absolute best in the world. Or I'm like, what? You win one
Yeah.
race. We've had to, how many people have won? How many drivers have won one race in their time
Pastor
in Formula One?
Maldonado was the best
Because of
driver in the world in
yeah,
April of 2012, was he?
it's just so cheesy, so
Yeah,
Hollywood.
I agree. I agree.
They needed to soften that somehow because that
I
just
agree.
made me cringe. That made me cringe.
To end the whole review on the kind of bringing it back to the full positives of it, the final act of the film, I suppose, is set in and around Abu Dhabi, the last race of the season. That was brilliant. I thought
Mm,
the racing action in that was brilliant. I was properly thinking like I have genuinely no idea where they're going to go with this, how this is going to finish, who's going to come out on top. Is it going to be the Ford v Ferrari of they win but the main character doesn't win kind of thing?
mm,
Or they're just going to go full. I thought they balanced it well. I thought it was really properly good racing action. The red flag addition to it was really enjoyable. So I thought that final act, the racing scene in Abu Dhabi, was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
mm.
It was a great end to the movie. So
We
just
won't
to
tell
kind
you
of
who
end it on the
wins.
positive. I won't tell you who wins.
We
Yeah, we'll leave that for the end because again, I was sitting there thinking I don't know who's Lewis Hamilton might win this race. He might
yeah.
get revenge. Maybe this was like his agreement to be producer is that oh well I get to win in Abu Dhabi this time, lads.
But we're not telling you who we're going to win.
No,
So yeah,
won't tell
we
you who wins
won't
that
spoil
race.
that. Okay, Sean, I want a star review out of five. What are you giving it out of five?
I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's a very good racing movie. If you've seen a lot of racing movies, which I have, I think this is a really good blend of the racing action of Rush, which I thought was really well done, because again, a lot of in-camera stuff in Rush, and the it's not quite on the acting caliber of Ford v Ferrari, but it's way better on the racing action than that is. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I didn't see it in IMAX, but I will go see it in IMAX in the next week because I feel like that's how it should be properly experienced. Like you said, it was fully filmed in IMAX. So yeah, 4 out of 5, 100% recommend whether you're an F1 fan or not. And yeah, I think it's just it's a good summer blockbuster. It's a Top Gun. It's a Mission Impossible. It's a sports blockbuster movie. Definitely go see it in cinemas.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate what I put in my written review, which you can find on our website www.everythingf1.com, and I've got the reviews on there, the non-spoilery one and the slightly spoilery one. It's a 4-star movie for me as an entertainment film. If I was going to be super critical and use my F1 brain, I'd knock it down to 3 stars. But 3 stars still positive. But I turned my brain off. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Really enjoyed it. I can't wait to watch it again. And I'm sure everyone who's an F1 fan will enjoy, for the most part, the film if they head to the cinema to see it. Okay, that's our review of the F1 movie. Uh, well, that's our review of the F1 movie. Thank you very much for tuning in to listen. Coops, are you excited to see that? I know you've sat there the whole time just listening to us kind of spoil little parts of the film for you, but does it make you want to watch it sooner rather than later?
I mean, regardless of what you were going to say, I was going to watch it sooner rather than later.
Mm.
I mean, I watch a lot of movies. When you go to a movie, it's a movie. I mean, if anyone's going to come out and really tear it apart because it's not quite right in terms of Formula One, go and watch a Formula One documentary or watch a racing, like on
Mm.
repeat or something. You know, I don't watch Drive to Survive because it doesn't work for me and what it's set out to be. Like, let's look behind the scenes and it's too dramatized. I'm going to watch a thing that's titled Formula One, the movie being a very important part. So I know what I'm
Mm.
going in to watch. I know what we're going to see. I've kept an eye on some of the reviews. I've tried not to read too many of them because I want to go and experience it. But it's a movie, and I'm going to have fun because I've made a movie about a sport that I'm passionate about, and that's the exciting part for it. Am I going
Yeah.
to go decked out in McLaren stuff? You're damn right I am.
Yes.
So other than that,
Which we did to the premiere last night. We were in full garb.
yeah,
I
100%.
I had my McLaren stuff on too, actually, to be fair.
I think that's a really, really interesting point you've made there, Coops. Just as a final one for anyone who's maybe still a little bit on the fence about it, especially the Drive to Survive era of Formula One fans. This is not what that film is, and please do not go in expecting that to be this film. It's not. It's not Drive to Survive the movie. Drive to Survive is way more dramatic than this film is, and way more overblown than this film is.
Mhm.
Roman Grosjean was in his crash for 90 seconds. Drive to Survive made it look like he was in it for 5 years. This film has a lot of crashes in it. It's a little bit Mazza spinny in some of the crashes, but to be perfectly honest, none of them are overblown like that. I didn't think. I don't. There's one really, really big one, and I still thought that's actually fully believable. All things
Mhm.
considered, this is based on things that happened in real life. For about a lot of this was taken from real inspiration. Please don't go in expecting the super behind the scenes Americanized pandery drama of Drive to Survive because I agree with Coops that I don't watch it anymore for that exact reason. That's not this. It's a Hollywood movie. It's a movie. It's a fictionalized story. It's a fictionalized version of the Formula One World Championship. It just happens to be that if you watch it tomorrow and then watch the race on Sunday, you'll see a lot of the same people. That's it. But it's just really important to call that out. It is not Drive to Survive the movie. It's Formula One the movie.
And I
And
think
it's good to see the people that you know from the paddock. Oh, there he is. Oh, there they are.
Great. Yeah.
Oh,
Cool
yeah.
little Easter eggs. Yeah.
It doesn't take you out of it at all.
Not at all.
If
It
anything,
adds
it
to
kind
it.
of brings you into it more. It makes it more
100%. It makes it
believable.
feel so much more authentic that they didn't cast, the CEO of Mercedes is big Austrian man number two. They just put Toto Wolff in the movie.
Yeah,
And Fred Vasseur has an absolutely hilarious one-liner.
yeah.
I think that's the part that excites me as well, is the fact that you've seen other films that kind of dance around Formula One. There was a particular film that had Formula One in the background, and the way it was edited, it was really weird. And they've
Mm,
not tried to shoehorn it in like the live action parts where they're standing, like it's in the trailer when you've got Brad Pitt standing taking the national anthem at a race.
Mm.
I mean, he actually did
mm,
that. It's not like the
He's not
back.
green screen. He's not green screened in.
Yeah,
They
he's
actually did
there.
that in real
Yeah,
life at
and it's
multiple
not
races.
someone that is a bit similar height to Max Verstappen wearing a dodgy wig, and you don't really see his face, and that's supposed
Yeah,
to be Max Verstappen. A
it's
bit
really
like
Max Verstappen.
a bit like the
yeah.
movie version of like the '97 Formula One game where it was Canadian driver number one.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather, revealing him, like we all knew who he was talking about, it just didn't want his name put on it. So that's what I'm interested in, and the story will be the story. It's going to be a slightly cliched for a sports movie because they've done this type of thing in different sports for years. One of my
hmm
favourite sports movies is Moneyball. We all know what happened in that. It's Brad
Mm,
Pitt again, but You know, and my other favourite is Ford v Ferrari, or Le Mans '66, I think, depending on what
Depends where
country
you
you're
are. Yeah.
in. Yeah. So I know what I'm going into, and I know what I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to get the nachos. I'm going to spill the nachos down my McLaren hoodie because I do it every time I go. And I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to come out and go, that was really good. I'll wait till it comes on the telly. I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Might buy the Blu-ray to have as a collection piece. It's just like anyone who comes out and goes, I don't like it because of blah, blah. Yeah, well, you were going in to nitpick. You were going in to rip it apart before you watched it. It's not going to be perfect for the reason that you guys have discussed, because it's a movie, and you touched on the fact they never showed qualifying. They've got a runtime. They've got to pick the things that are
Long
pivotal.
enough.
Yeah, so they've got a couple of hours. They've got a certain time. It's not a film. It's not War and Peace, where it's like the movie version of War and Peace. It's going to last 3.5 hours, or one of the Avengers films, or whatever it is.
Hey, I'd have
You
still
know,
seen it.
Same. But look, it's very good. It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth two watches, even if you're a both Formula One fan and movie action summer sports movie fan. And you can, as you said, it's a movie. Like I made the point yesterday. It's like, do you think fighter pilots go to Top Gun and think, Jesus, that's realistic? No, of course they don't.
No,
Of course they don't.
no.
And Ford v Ferrari had lots of fictionalized things in it.
They have to make it interesting. They have to make it
Exactly.
work for audiences that aren't fanatics.
And
And
the best thing about
the
this
the,
is
the wider population is not a fanatic.
the
I
best thing
think
about
that
this is it is not based on a true story.
Mm.
So they could actually do whatever they want in it.
yeah, and I think one of the reviews I watched was a spoiler-free one. They talked about some of the dodgy CGI in Ferrari, the film
Mm.
with
Of
Adam
Adam
Driver in
Driver,
it.
which was awful.
I liked the film, but
The
the
film was
way,
good, the CGI was crap.
but yeah, the CGI part, a specific crash was bad. The CGI in Ford versus Ferrari was a bit iffy.
Mm.
So one of the things they've done, and the fact that they've got in the director they brought in, was they've done it practically. And
Yeah.
one of the
Mm.
first things he must have said was, "I'll do it, but how are we going to make this practical? How is this going to work?" So maybe that was, part of the pre-production with Formula One. Right, how do we
Yeah.
get this to work? And we saw it. And
The logistics of it all was just crazy. And when I went to Silverstone and they were there filming it, so I remember seeing them film certain parts. And yeah, the fact that they managed to do it is
Mm.
amazing, really.
It's a
They
really good
wove
testament to
themselves
filmmaking.
into the yeah, they wove
Yeah.
themselves into that kind of lifestyle and the whole of the grid, and they did it over the year.
Yeah.
And you can see that they've worked really hard to produce what is a fantastic film.
Mm.
Okay, that's enough for our review. I am happy to report that we all think you should go and see it and that you'll enjoy it. We will be back on our next podcast, which will be the Austrian Grand Prix review. Please head over to your favorite podcast streaming service and hit the subscribe button to make sure you get that into your ears as soon as it drops. Visit us on our website, www.everythingf1.com. Visit on our socials at JoinEF1 across Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, you name it. And of course, YouTube, hit the subscribe button to be entered into our competition to win a Lego Speed Champions set. Thank you very much for reviewing the race with me, Sean, and thanks for listening, Coops.
no worries.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. Yeah, we were a bit longer than we thought. The light is going.